Welcome to Chapter 6, Section 4, Algebra, Solving Proportions. Alright, to start off here, solve using equivalent fractions. Solve each proportion. So, basically what you can do, there are many ways, many ways of solving proportions, and you've probably learned some already. But we're going to look at all the different ways. So first of all, you can use equivalent fractions. What this means is if you have 4 over 5 equals 4 over x. These are equivalent. So if 4 and 4 are the same, then this x must be 5. So that means then if 4 instead of 4 if you ended up with 8 over x, well, 4 has been doubled. Therefore, 5 turns into 10. If instead of 8, you get 12, well, you multiplied by 3, and x is 15. That's what this equivalent fraction is talking about. So, find a value for x so that the fractions are equivalent. Well, 4 times 7 gives us 28. So 5 times 7 gives us 35. So x is 35. That's equivalent fractions. So try that here with this example. B becomes 16. 5, you multiply by 4 to get 20. So when you multiply this by 4, when you go 5 to 4, if you're multiplying going this way, then that means going the other direction, you have to divide by 4. So take 16, divide by 4, and you get 4/5. So B is 4. All right, this one. This one is a little bit tougher. All right, so this one is a little bit tougher, and this is the reason. Because you can't easily get 38 to 22. You can't easily get 22 to 38. But what you can do is recognize that not only can you go from, numerator, denominator, numerator to denominator. Not only can you go from here to there and here to there, but you can also compare the fractions themselves. So 19 and 38. Well, if you divide 38 by 2, you get 19. So think, what is 22 divided by 2? 11. So n is 11. There are all sorts of ways to manipulate these. So looking at this one, I would say look at 3. You're going to multiply by something to get to 9. Pause the video, write it in there. And now that you're back, if you multiply 3 times 3, you multiply 8 times 3, and you get that this is equal to 9/24. So x is 24. Here, 24. 4, let's go backwards. You have to multiply by 6 to get to 24. Well, if you're multiplying by 6, that means if you wanted to come back again, you would divide by 6. So for us, divide by 6 gives us 3/4. Here, 28 to 48. Well, we can't do anything directly. This is not very easy. So instead, look at 48 and 12. Look at 48 and 12 and say to yourself, all right, 12, 48. Divide 48 by 4, which means you divide this by 4, so 7/28. So that is the third way of doing it. All right, you're going to want to rewatch these, check your progresses, because on your check your understandings, you're going to have to be able to accomplish some of this. All right, here is a story problem. Out of 40 students in a gym class, 12 rate soccer as their favorite sport. Based on this result, predict how many of 4,200 students in the community would rate soccer. So, we have to set up a ratio. How many soccer? 12 out of the 40 like soccer. So now when you pull the whole school, the total students are 4,200. And we don't know what S is. But we can do a number of things. Let's start by figuring out okay, here we go. Since 40 times 105 is 4,200, then we multiply the numerator and denominator by 105. So 12 times 105 is 1,260 over 4,200. Okay. So what we're looking at here, 100, 105, 105, 105. That means now that top number, 1,260 kids, rate soccer as their favorite sport. So we're going to set up this exact same thing. Out of 50 people, so that means 50 total people, 35 say they like their job. And now we want to compare it to the whole corporation. The whole corporation involves 2,400 people. And how many of them? X. We don't know. So we have to figure out this times what number gives us 2,400. This times some number gives me 2,400. So you're going to be multiplying by 48 on both of these. And so now when you do 35 times 48, you get that X is 1,680 employees enjoy their job. All right. Now using a unit rates, Cedric earned $184 for 8 hours of work. At this rate, how much will he earn for 15 hours of work? Well, we need to find a unit rate. 184 over 8 is equal to some number of dollars for 15 hours. So you could try to solve it like before. But instead, if we're using a unit rate, the definition of unit rate was that it has a denominator or a numerator of 1. So if you look at the denominator there is an 8. We have to divide by 8 to make the denominator 1. We divide by 8 in the numerator and get 23. So it means that this person is making $23 per 1 hour. So that's a lot of money per hour. But now, Okay, so we've got 23 over 1. Now we have to then figure out how many does it take for 15 hours. So we take the 23, we multiply by 15 and get 345. 345 over 15. That means $345 for 15 hours of work. All right, Marcy walked 24 dogs in 6 days. 24 over 6. Well, we need to find out how many she will walk in 14 days. So to find the unit rate, divide both numbers by the denominator. This tells me $4 or 4 dogs per day. So day 1, 4. Day 2, 8. Day 3, 12. And you could continue like this. Or simply multiply now by what you want the denominator to be, 14. 56 dogs in 14 days. That's a lot of dogs to walk in 2 weeks. All right, so that's solving proportions. Now, do not forget to do the CYUs, page 336, numbers 1 to 7. All right, show your work like I have. And when you come back to class, we'll make sure to do these as your class work.